Hello, everyone. It is SharRon Jamison. It's Saturday, March 24th. I hope that you had a great week this far. I just wanted to pop in and I hope people can join me. Hey, Celeste. Hey, Stacy. Because I wanted to share this last 3 weeks I have been on the road and have had an opportunity to talk with people who are working on their vision, their goals, their dreams, people who are excited about excelling. Hey, John and Tamika and Mary. Oh, that's my aunt. Hey, that's my Aunt May. Hey there. And I have had a chance to talk to people who are so committed to being their best selves. Hey, Shawana. And I want to encourage you to vote for your vision. And how do we do that? We vote for our vision and our goals by making decisions that get us closer to what we desire and what we hope for. So often we don't vote for ourselves because we make decisions that are in direct opposition to what we really want. We make decisions that don't honor us and honor our goals and honor our dreams and honor our divine calling. So it's so important to vote for your vision, and you vote for your vision by making sure that every decision, every choice, every thought, every belief that you walk in, everything that you do honors your vision. You have to vote for your vision. You have to vote, and you vote by your beliefs. You vote by your behaviors. You vote by the people you allow in your life. You are always voting for you, one way or the other. So I hope that you vote for what you desire best in your life. So I wanted to talk about very quickly what I am learning as I have been on the road these last couple of weeks. And I call them dream killers. We all have dream killers in our lives. Hey, Janice. Hey, Added Value. And I want you to think about, if you have a pencil or pen, to write these people down, because dream killers are what makes us or discourages us from voting for our own visions. One, the D stands for we need to be aware of anything and anybody that causes us disruption. Anybody who causes you to lose focus, we need to make sure that we change their position in our lives. It's really important to remember you're not a victim. Either many times we are volunteers when we allow people to behave badly in our lives. We're not victims because we get to make choices, because it's up to us to have some border control. It's up to us to allow people in our lives. So the question is, are you a victim or a volunteer? And if you're going to vote for you, you have to make sure that nothing comes in your life that can serve as a disruption. Doubt is a disruption. Other people's drama is a disruption. Denial is a disruption. Any type of situation that causes you to act disingenuous is a disruption. Because if you're not walking in authenticity, you're not walking in your power, because God doesn't bless imposters. I want you to identify in your life who and what is a disruption. Sometimes your own habits are your disruptions, because we all have uphill hopes but some downhill habits. So we have to ask ourselves, are our habits disrupting us from our divine assignment? And if they are, we have to make different choices, because again, we have to vote for our vision by the decisions and choices that we make. So the D is for disruption. Identify any person, place, or thing that serves as a disruption or an impediment or a detriment, or anything that causes you to feel disingenuous, anything that causes you to feel disappointed, anything that causes you to feel degraded is a disruption. We cannot have our minds and spirits disrupted, because it will cause us to forfeit our momentum. And none of us need to forfeit our momentum, because then we won't reach our divine assignment. So the D is for disruption. The R is for we have to be okay with dealing with rejection and ridicule. Why? When you don't do what people want you to do, they will attack you. Hey, Sherry. They will attack you with their words. They will attack you with assassinating your character. They will attack you by pushing you away. They will attack you by saying, who do you think you are? They will attack you by bringing up and sharing every mistake that you have ever made in your life. I want you to look at rejection and ridicule as just tools of manipulation. They're tools of manipulation that other people use against you to make you do what they want you to do. Now, if we look at ridicule and rejection as a tool, we won't get so offended because we'll understand that if they're tools that we don't have to respond to. Just remember, just because people play the music doesn't mean you got to dance. And so I want you to think about who is rejecting you and who is ridiculing you, and know it's just part of it. So what? You don't even get invited to the parties. You don't have time to go and deal with shallow-minded people anyway. People will reject you and they will ridicule you and assassinate you. But attacks is part of the process. You can never advance without attacks. So we have to learn how to advance in the midst of attacks, knowing that whatever a person says about you, if it's true or not, it's not true today. And so I don't care what you did yesterday, you didn't do it today. So don't worry about what people are saying about you. And if people don't have enough courage to say it to your face, you shouldn't even acknowledge it anyway. If a person has a problem to you, hopefully they're grown enough and courageous enough to ask you. If not, it doesn't deserve you. So don't allow rejection and ridicule to make you lose your vision or to make you to start voting against yourself. So that's the R. The E is for enemies. And can I say that we all have some enemies? And sometimes you don't know who your enemies are until you start being successful. Saboteurs are always going to be around. Even Jesus had a Judas. Hey, Shawana and Anita and Shelly. We have to remember to expect enemies, but also understand that sabotage is always an inside job. So the question we have to ask ourselves, are we paying attention? Are we paying attention? Because everybody who's ever betrayed me, when I really think about it, there were signs. I wasn't paying attention. Now, sometimes we might be totally shocked, but that's very rare if we're paying attention. So I want to give you 3 things to identify to help you understand if people have the potential or the seeds to be saboteurs. One is look for people who have big egos. There are some people in your life whose ego is so big that they always need acknowledgement. They always need praise. They always want you to put their name in the post. They get mad if you don't call their name on the mic. They always need affirmation, public affirmation. They always need to be seen. And if you are around people who have big egos, they always are going to get mad because they are not going to be able to withstand your elevation. Remember, every relationship can withstand elevation. Climbing causes casualties. So as you're climbing, there will be casualties in your relationships. Hey, Michelle and Louisa. So know that people who have big egos will have problems with your elevation, in your success, in your celebration. Watch the big egos. The second thing we have to be careful about is people who are entitled. Some people feel entitled to your success. They didn't help you. They didn't suffer with you. They didn't sacrifice with you. They didn't pray for you, but they feel entitled. I remember that one person was upset because they felt like I should have co-signed for their car. One of my friends. And she said, well, SharRon, I remember when I gave you a ride. I said, sweetie, we were 4 years old and that was a tricycle. And giving me a ride 50 years ago does not mean that I'm going to co-sign for you for a car. Where's your own money, right? Be careful. Climbing causes casualties. And there will always be people around who feel entitled to your success. Now, I believe that none of us are successful by ourselves. But it's different when people are on the battlefield with you and helping you fight. That's one thing. If you're helping me fight, if we kill the lion, all of us get to eat. But if you are doing nothing, you're not helping me, you're not calling me, you're not doing anything to help me, and you think you're gonna get a cut, the only thing you're gonna do is get cut out of my life, right? So be careful with people who feel entitled. People don't have a right to anything that you have earned unless they help. And then if they help, you are the one who determines how to divide the spoils. Is your idea, is your dream, is your risk. Yes, you have to pay people, but however, this ain't 50-50 because it's your gift, your risk, your money, your investment, and it's your initiative. So pay people fairly. Don't touch, mess with people's money, but also don't allow people to pimp you and think that they are entitled to half your stuff and they did nothing. So entitlement. The third thing is envy. Now, envy is slippery because sometimes you don't realize that people are starting to be envious because it's insidious. It's so slow. I like to watch people who stop clapping because it's interesting when you start winning, people are like, yeah, Hercules, Hercules. But after you start winning too much, you notice that the clapping stops. People stop being excited. People don't want to hear when you call them like, hey, guess what happened? They're not interested. So we have to watch envy because envy is a slippery, sneaky slope that sometimes you don't even know that envy and jealousy is affecting your relationship because people don't want to admit it. I think one of the wisest things you can do is to admit when you're jealous. One of my closest friends, when we get jealous of each other, we tell each other. And we like, listen, help me. I am feeling jealous and it's not right. I want you to know it but can you help me with it? That's love because it's honest. I would rather deal with a person who's jealous and they can tell me than to do something behind my back to sabotage me. So watch envy, big egos, and entitlement. Those three are your enemies, and those are signs that people can't handle your success. Remember, there will be some casualties, some relationships. I love what Oprah said. Oprah said the same people who were at her, bowing at her feet, were the same people who were at her neck trying to choke her when she got successful. So just know that some people don't have the emotional maturity to withstand your elevation, and that's okay. Let them go. Don't try to beg them to stay. If people are jealous, if you keep them around, they will become a cancer in your camp, and they will taint and malign and cause disease and dis-ease in every place that you're around. Be careful. Be careful. Hey, Sylvia. Hey, Lydia. Make sure that you watch your outside enemies. Now, also watch out for the enemies inside of you. As we are going up success has a way of squeezing out of us our power and our passion, which is a blessing. But success has a way of squeezing out our pathology and our pain. Why? Because being an entrepreneur is a character building process. If you are weak emotionally or spiritually, being an entrepreneur will crush you. Being an entrepreneur is so hard. It's ups and downs and all the variables and all the vicissitudes. You have to be okay with the challenge. But challenge, like I said, it brings out the best in you, but it brings out the worst in you. And that's why we have to be on guard for our own enemies that show up. Because as we go to a higher level, yes, we have different new devils on the outside, but you also have some devils on the inside. And I can remember every time I go to a new level, my insecurity rears its ugly head. My self-doubt rears its ugly head. My feeling like I'm an imposter rears its ugly head. SharRon, can you really do that? Every level, my own enemies come out and tries to render me impotent. But I'm not going to be impotent because I recognize it's an enemy. That's why it's important to have good friends and good people around in your life. Sometimes your friends have to stand in a gap and remind you of your own testimonies until you can walk in your own testimonies and walk to victory. That's why I always surround myself, as in the Bible says, a cloud of witnesses. Cloud of witnesses to remind me of how amazing I am and how amazing I can be, because sometimes we need some affirmation to help us. Now, everybody can't do that. That's why you have to hang around confident people. Insecure people are reckless. Insecure people are so insecure that they cannot be your mirrors. You need mirrors and reminders of your greatness. Somebody who's weak can't do that. I find that many times people who are weak like to, instead of helping me see my strengths, they like to optimize or maximize my weaknesses. And I feel like, you know what, I know what my weaknesses are. We don't have to have a choir to sing them. So be careful and make sure you watch for your outside enemies and your inside enemies and slay the dragons. That's why it's important to be in therapy. That's so important to have a coach. If you're going to do anything at an elite level, you need a coach, because there's some places in your life, in that elevation, that you're going to feel vulnerable. It's not that you can't do it, it's that you're going to feel as if you cannot do it. And the best thing that you can do is have people around you to remind you of your own power. So that is the E. The A is for, if you're going to be successful and vote for your own vision, you have to be able to withstand adversity. Really, you have to be able to advance in the midst of adversity. Now, why is that important? We have to remember that even though we're going after our goal, life is not going to stop. You're still going to have relationship problems, health problems, mama problems. You're still going to have, life is going to go on. Your whole life is not going to stop as you fulfill your divine assignment, which means that you are going to have to advance in the midst of adversity. Some of my best sermons happen when I'm beat down. Sometimes if I'm having I have some chronic diseases, if I'm having an inflammation period, sometimes that's when I do my best preaching. You don't get to stop because you are having an adverse situation. You have to be able to be mentally strong. You have to be able to push through. And if you can't do it by yourself, get some help. That's why I have a therapist. That's why I have a business coach. That's why I have an inner circle. I have support because I understand that we can never walk alone. We can walk along, but not alone. And because success never happens in isolation. So that's really, really important. So A is be able to advance in the midst of adversity. And you got to keep voting for your vision, meaning that you have to keep making good choices. The M is watch out for people who would minimize you. It's really interesting that when I first came into this space, I had been speaking for 20 years. My father's a minister. I grew up speaking and teaching. Started doing this coaching business in my late 20s. I didn't know the word coaching, but I was doing it. So when I came into this business, I would say in my late 40s, people, let's say that, try to tell me that I wasn't qualified. Oh, SharRon, you haven't been doing this long enough. As if I didn't have enough life experience and success experience that allowed me to still be effective. Be careful when people try to minimize your success. Be careful when people try to minimize your track record. Remember, success, the skills that you learn are transferable. And just because I had not been on this speaking platform, I've been speaking at church all the time. And to allow a coach, which she tried to minimize that, I had to fire her. I think it's important to be coachable, but don't be foolable. Foolable is when you believe anything somebody tells you, when you know that you are talented, when you know that you're gifted. I think we got to be careful and always understand that just because somebody is a coach doesn't mean that they are secure. And some coaches don't want their mentees to get ahead of them. I'm going to be honest. So be coachable, but not foolable. And know that if a person that's trying to help you is trying to minimize all your gifts, all of your talents, trying to minimize your experience, really, are they the ones that should be working with you? They could not tell me, here I am negotiating multi-million-dollar deals for corporations. I was working with Johnson & Johnson and Bristol Myers Squibb and Takeda, Biogen, the top companies, 30-something years in corporate America. And someone wanted to tell me, oh, you're not ready. I've been owning businesses since I was 30. I have made millions and I've lost millions, So be careful when you have people around you who try to minimize you. Now, and people will try to minimize you on every level. Your friends will try to minimize you because they will think that you're not ready. Sometimes coaches try to minimize you. Sometimes society will try to minimize you. It's called systemic racism, systemic sexism, systemic classism, systemic homophobia. There's always somebody else who thinks it's their responsibility to tell you when you're not qualified. There's always somebody else who feels that they have the power and the success and the authority and the ability and the agency to say where you don't belong. Listen, wherever you are, you belong. And so be mindful that they're so critical that you don't allow people to minimize you, which means that you have to be open to allow other people in your life. My motto is, a person does not need to be kin to me or skin to me to win with me. Again, they don't need to be skin with me or kin with me to win with me. Meaning that anybody who can help me, I don't care what color, what kind, your gender, your sexual orientation, your belief. If you got the goods, I got some guts, let's do it. Let's do it. I will partner with anybody who has a good character and some competence. You gotta have some character and you gotta have some competence. You gotta have them both, because I don't care if you have good computer skills, but you have some lousy coping skills. Or I don't care if you're smart, but you're shady and shaky. Or I don't care if you're talented, but you're toxic, right? So I look for people who have character and competence, principles and proficiency. Now, if you have proficiency in some principles, in some character and competence, I don't care what you look like. I want us to look like on the inside. And that means that if you're mission-driven, heart-centered, and you want to make money, but not at all costs, because I'm not going to put profits over people any day, because some dollars ain't worth a dime. So we got to make sure that we open ourselves to be in business relationships and connections with people who don't look like us. If people don't look like you, have never been where you want to go, well, they can't take you there. Now, after you get there, you can reach back, but you can't hold them and pull someone forward, and you don't know what you're doing. They don't know what you're doing. So you have the blind leading the blind. And so then all you're going to do is not be successful, right? So make sure you don't allow people to minimize you, which means that you have to find other people who maximize and optimize you. You have to find people who are catalysts and who believe in your gifts and believe in your genius and believe in your goods. It's important to find people who believe in you so much that they want to collaborate with you. You don't have to beg people to work with you. You're a genius. You are amazing. But however, show up in your power, in your principles, in your proficiency, and people will find you and they will want to work with you and they will trust you. So that's really, really important. And the S is understand you're going to make some sacrifices. You are. I believe that to go up, you have to give up. And sometimes you have to give up some relationships. Sometimes you have to give up some habits. Sometimes you have to give up hanging out with people. I'm always shocked that when I go to these leadership conferences, I see a lot of people who don't look like me. And it makes me sad because oftentimes I hear people say, you know what, that's too expensive, but you spend $400 on some JC and Beyonce tickets and you have fun for 2 hours versus getting coaching, which can change the trajectory of your life. And so sometimes we have to give up something for the short term. It's so important to ask yourself, are you willing to give up something now to have what you want in the future? We have to understand that loss is part of success, because you might lose some friends, you might lose some money. And let me tell you, you're going to lose some money. You're going to pay one way or not for education. Sometimes you pay for education in a classroom. Sometimes you pay for education when you lose money. You're going to pay one way or the other, right? But you're going to lose something. It's part of the journey. And we have to be mindful that we don't become so risk adverse that we won't take a chance on us. You got to take a chance on yourself. You are your best investment. You are your best product. You are your best talent. You are your best friend. And if you're going to bet on anyone, I hope you will look in the mirror and bet on that person, because you are a star. You are a genius. Out of the 7 billion people in the world, there's nobody just like you. And so I want to encourage you to vote for your vision, and you vote for your vision by making decisions and choices that close the gaps in your life to help you get to where you want to be. And we have to do it and be consistent, which means that we have to, one, be mindful of the disruptions. And the only thing that helps you deal with disruptions is discipline. Discipline produces deliverance. I want somebody to write that down. Discipline produces deliverance. If you are disciplined, you will deliver yourself from poverty, deliver yourself from mediocrity, deliver yourself from fools. Be disciplined in your border control. Be disciplined in developing your skills. Be disciplined in reading. Be disciplined in unlearning. Be disciplined. Discipline will overcome disruptions. Disruptions. 2, watch your emotional status. You will be rejected. You will be ridiculed. Understand that they both are just tools of manipulation. Don't let somebody manipulate you by disinviting you. Just, they don't invite you, so what? You don't need to be there anyway. Yeah? So don't be upset with, oh, I didn't get an invitation to the party. So what? Those are not your peeps. I tell my friends all the time, if you are always wanting me to go shopping with you, well, I want you to go to a seminar with me. Because I don't care about clothes. I wear black all the time. I don't care. I don't care about clothes. I don't care about hair. So if you're going to be my friend, we got to do what we both want to do. And if you want to tell me about every designer good, I want to tell you about some stocks, bonds, and mutual funds and some annuities. Because I'm all about making money so I can take care of my parents. That's really important. So make sure that you understand that rejection and ridicule are just tools of manipulation, and you are too amazing to be manipulated. Just know, don't invite you, that's fine. Watch your enemies, watch your external enemies, and remember envy, entitlement, and ego, but also watch your internal intestinal enemies. Those parts of you that start to get squeezed out under the stress and under the weight of success. Remember, success is wonderful, but success can be heavy, and success will expose your vulnerabilities, and that's fine. Know that you have vulnerabilities and go get some reinforcement. And you get reinforcement by getting a coach, some friends, a sister circle, some prayer warriors, some support. Understand that you will have to advance in the midst of adversity. Life is not going to stop to accommodate your goal. That means you're still going to be a mom, you're still a wife or a husband, you're still a grandmother, you're still a caregiver, you're still of all of that, and you still have to go after your goal, which means that you have to guard your time and guard your process. We all should what I call have a border control. Everybody shouldn't have access to you, especially if they're not doing anything. Remember, if people are not making a difference, they're making a mess. And what you don't want to do is allow them to make a mess in your life, right? And so the M is be careful of people who want to minimize you, your gifts, your talents, your abilities, your experience, and be okay with being coachable, but don't be foolable. You know what that you have some talent. You know what you're capable of. Don't let somebody else tell you or disqualify you or discredit you or discount you because your path was different. Your path is really important. Your now is also always necessary. I want you to remember that. Your now is necessary for your future. And so don't let someone discount you because your path or your journey or the chart the course that you are charting is different than theirs. Excuse me. And the S is you will make sacrifices, and be ready to make sacrifices. To go up, you have to give up. And you will be forced to lose or to give up some money, some friends, some habits. Well, maybe you have to study and can't watch Scandal. Maybe you have to go to a business class and not see Beyonce and Jay-Z. Where are your priorities? Your priorities should always vote for your vision. Are you voting for your vision? So I want to encourage you. It's been for the last 3 weeks, I've been in Las Vegas, Phoenix, and now I'm in Fort Lauderdale. And it's been a blessing to see people who are energized and on fire for their vision. And I want you to keep the fires burning, keep the flames burning. And if anybody is putting water on you instead of oil, you have to move. Remember, the setting is important. Your surroundings are important. But when you start feeling like your setting, the soil can't support you, you got to move. You got to move. When plants are dying, what do? We move plants to a different place. If you're dying, move over, because your gift is needed in the world. Your vision is needed. You are a pioneer. You're a trailblazer. Just know you're going to have to cut down some trees. And sometimes the trees are internal. Sometimes the trees are external. Sometimes the trees are systemic and institutionalized trees. But you got to cut some things down, because you are a pioneer. You're a visionary. You're a trailblazer. And the path that you are creating has never been created before. So I want you to be prepared to be a dream keeper, to be prepared to slay the dream killers, and to make sure you are always voting for you. Because if nobody else in the world deserves your vote, you do. You deserve your own vote, and you deserve your own voice. And let's dare to soar higher together. And in 3 weeks, I'm going to be starting an online program called Dare to Be Me. It's for people who are ready to be more, to do more, to say more. It's for people who are ready to take courageous action. It's for people who are committed to slaying the dragons and slaying the killers and slaying the Goliaths in their life, so that they can have progress, so they can be productive, so that they can do what they have been called to do. It gets to a point in our lives where we have to challenge ourselves and say, are we going to get in the game or stay on the sidelines? And if you get in the game, know that you're going to be tackled, especially if you're carrying the ball. But that's okay, because you have people around you who will help you block. But I want you to think about the program. I only do it 4 times a year. It's online. It's us like this. There's a workbook. I'm going to put some information. It's called Dare to Be Me. And because I want you to dare to be your best self, because you have a job to do and a God to glorify. Stop selling yourself short. And because for years I sold myself short. But you know what? I'm in my early 50s, and I think it's time for us to be who we know that we've been called to be. So I hope that you will share this video if you feel like it's something that could be useful to other people, to share the video. And I hope that you join me in Dare to Be Me. And then sometime, I think this summer, me and a couple of people are going to be doing something that's called the Leadership Boutique. It's a part of my business called the Leadership Boutique, where I deal with leaders to help them navigate in political situations. Because one thing I've learned from being in corporate America for 30 years, you have to learn how to navigate and swim in toxic waters. And so I want to be able to share that. Me and some other leaders are going to be coming together to do that under the part of the Jamison group called the Leadership Boutique. So thanks so much for joining me. Oh my God, I forgot to look at the comments. I'm sorry. But thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate you. Thanks so much for always supporting me. If you're not part of the Dare to Soar Higher group, please come. We have had some amazing women speakers. Oh my God, please listen to these speakers, and just thanks so much for supporting me. I'm only successful because of you. Your support is not lost on me. I know that it's your support, your kind words, your participation, your love, your support, your prayers is what's getting me through my journey. And so I want to say thank you. I can't do what I'm doing without you. So I celebrate you and I thank you, and I pray for you, and God bless you. So thanks so much for joining me. I'll fly back home tomorrow, and let's dare to soar higher and higher and higher as we do what God has called us to do. Blessings. Thanks again for joining me this evening.